It started as just another routine episode of reality TV, but by the end of the night, nothing in Atlanta would ever be the same. Tensions were simmering for weeks, but no one, not even the cast, could have guessed just how explosive things would get once Bambi stormed into the reunion taping, her eyes blazing and her voice trembling with secrets. Rumors had been flying about trouble in paradise between Bambi and Lil Scrappy. But nobody saw it coming when she dropped a bombshell about young Joc that sent shockwaves through the entire set. Was it betrayal? Was it revenge? Was it the truth? The ultimate setup. As cameras rolled and jaws dropped, the atmosphere was electric with suspense. Lil Scrappy, usually the king of keeping cool under pressure, lost all composure as Bambi called him out in front of the world, delivering the kind of jaw-dropping reveal that had producers scrambling and castmates choosing sides. Friends gasped. Alliances shifted, and fans rushed online to dissect every explosive second. Social media lit up with wild speculation as hashtags like #ScrappyChaos and #Joc Bombshell trended worldwide. People were glued to their screens, desperate to know, what did Bambi know? And why did it shake Scrappy to his core? Tonight, we take you inside the chaos. Secrets will spill, friendships will shatter. And nothing, absolutely nothing, will ever be the same. The studio lights were blazing, and every camera was rolling as the reunion taping kicked off. But behind the scenes, you could feel the tension. Lil Scrappy sat rigid in his chair, trying to play it cool, but fans could tell something was off. Bambi walked in, her heels echoing on the polished floor, and everyone's attention locked on her. You could almost hear the whispers in the air, the nervous giggles, the worried glances between cast members. Even the producers looked uneasy, as if they sensed tonight would not end like any other episode. The host tried to keep things light at first, cracking a few jokes and steering conversation to old highlights. Scrappy forced a laugh, but Bambi's smile was tight, her eyes darting to the other side of the set where young Joc was getting his mic adjusted. It was as if she was waiting for the perfect moment, counting the seconds until she could let loose. And as the early banter died down, Bambi finally leaned forward, her voice trembling just enough to grab everyone's attention. So, she started, her words cutting through the room. Since we're all being honest tonight, maybe it's time to clear the air about something big. Jaws dropped, and the audience shifted in their seats, sensing drama about to explode. Scrappy turned to her, confused but defensive. "What you talking about, Bambi?" His tone was half joking, half worried. But Bambi wasn't smiling anymore. She shot a look at young Joc, who tried to avoid her eyes, suddenly fidgeting with his chain. "Some people," Bambi continued, "got a lot to say behind closed doors, but never want to face the truth on camera." Her words hung in the air like thunder. Even the host, caught off guard, quickly tried to redirect, but it was too late. Suddenly, Bambi dropped the bombshell. "You want to talk about loyalty, Scrappy? Maybe you should ask your boy Joc what he's been hiding from you." Her words sent a visible jolt through the set. Scrappy's eyes widened, and the camera zoomed in for maximum effect. "What you mean? Joc's my brother. He ain't hiding nothing," Scrappy shot back, his voice rising just enough to betray his nerves. But Bambi only leaned in closer, her voice steady now, almost chilling. "Or maybe he's just hiding something from both of us." The rest of the cast shifted, some gasping, others whispering. The host tried to keep control, but the show had clearly slipped from his hands. Fans watching at home were already firing up social media, desperate to know what was coming next. And then Bambi went for it. "Maybe Joc would like to tell you right here, right now, about those messages he's been sending me late at night. Or should I?" A collective gasp swept the room. Joc, who'd been looking everywhere but at Scrappy or Bambi, finally spoke up, his voice cracking. "Man, it wasn't nothing like that, I swear." But Bambi wasn't done. Sfeed pulled out her phone, waving it for the cameras. "I got receipts," she declared, her voice full of confidence and just a touch of anger. You want to see what your brother really thinks of your wife? Scrappy shot up from his chair, his face darkening. Bambi, don't do this! Not here. His voice was desperate, but Bambi shook her head. Nah, Scrappy. I'm tired of protecting people who don't protect me. She turned the phone to the camera. Messages flashed on the screenshots, late-night texts, emojis. And just enough context to suggest something much deeper than friendship between Bambi and Joc. Fans at home were frozen, eyes glued to the screen, wondering what would happen. Next, the host tried to step in, but Scrappy had already lost his composure. Joc! Man, you really doing this? He demanded, his voice raw. Joc, flustered, stammered. It ain't what it looks like, bro, I promise. I was just checking up on her. You know she was going through it. But Bambi cut him off, voice shaking now with emotion, checking up at 2 a.m, with heart emojis. The audience erupted in whispers, castmates shook their heads. And fans online started posting their own theories. Scrappy turned to Bambi, his voice breaking. So, this what you been hiding from me? This what you do? Bambi's eyes filled with tears, but she didn't back down. I tried to tell you, Scrappy, you never listen. You always think everyone's against you, but sometimes you're your own worst enemy. Scrappy clenched his fists, shaking his head in disbelief. Nah, this ain't real. You trying to break us up on TV? Bambi looked him straight in the eye, her voice barely more than a whisper. Maybe we already were. Tension in the studio was electric. Even the crew seemed to freeze, waiting to see who would speak next. Young Joc sat silently, head bowed, as if the weight of every message Bambi revealed was crashing down on him. The cast looked from Scrappy to Bambi to Joc, each one wondering if their own secrets were safe. Producers huddled nervously off camera, debating whether to cut to commercial or let the chaos play out. And then, as if on cue, Mama D, Scrappy's mother, burst onto the set, demanding to know what was happening. What's all this mess? My baby don't deserve this, she shouted, marching right up to Bambi. The crowd erupted. Bambi, holding back tears, faced Mama D. I didn't want this, I swear. But I can't keep living a lie. Mama D pointed a finger at Joc, her voice sharp. You stay away from my family. You always bring drama. Joc tried to defend himself. Mama D, I never meant for this to happen. The host finally tried to bring order. Let's take a breath. Everyone, we need to hear both sides. But the damage was done. Fans on social media were posting screen captures, arguing over who was telling the truth. Alliances shifted before the audience's eyes. Erica, Scrappy's ex, whispered something to another castmate, and people wondered if she'd be next. To drop a bombshell felt like the set could explode at any second. Scrappy, hands shaking, looked at Joc. Were you ever my friend, man? All these years. Joc, eyes shining with regret, answered softly, Scrap, I'm sorry. I messed up, I got in my feelings, but I swear nothing happened. Bambi, voice trembling, added, I didn't reply to those messages, Scrappy, but I didn't tell you either. I thought if I ignored it, it would go away. Scrappy let out a bitter laugh. Nothing goes away on this show. Not secrets, not lies. Mama D, determined to defend her son, stepped between Bambi and Scrappy. You should have come to me, Bambi. I could have fixed this. Bambi wiped her eyes. Some things can't be fixed, Mama D. Some things are just too broken. Host, seeing the drama was only escalating, said, let's pause for a second and let everyone gather themselves. But the pause only made things more tense. The cameras zoomed in on Bambi, her hands trembling, on Scrappy. His face a mix of anger and heartbreak, and on Joc, staring at the floor. Fans watching live flooded the chat with their support, and outrage hashtag Scrappy Chaos and hashtag Joc Bombshell trended for hours. The reunion had barely started, and already friendships were destroyed. Trust was shattered. and the family was left divided. As the host finally called for a commercial break, cast members rushed off set. The cameras kept rolling, backstage catching whispers, glances, and raw emotion. You could tell this was just the beginning. And the night's biggest secrets had yet to be revealed. Backstage chaos, raw emotions, and the drama only getting wilder. This is where the real story begins. The moment the cameras cut for a break, the reunion set turned into a war zone. Scrappy stormed off, his footsteps echoing in the hallway. Anger and disbelief etched all over his face. He muttered to himself, "How could they do this to me?" On TV, the tension in his body was obvious. Fists clenched so tight his knuckles went white. Bambi, meanwhile, stayed seated in her chair, trembling as she wiped away her tears, trying not to let the world see just how much she was breaking inside. As the rest of the cast watched from a distance, whispers filled the green room. Some blamed Bambi. Others whispered about Joc's real intentions, while a few wondered if Scrappy's own behavior had finally come back to haunt him. The energy was electric. Nobody could stay silent, and everyone wanted to see what would happen next. Producers huddled together, phones buzzing as they tried to decide how to handle the chaos. "Should we just let it play out?" one asked. "This is reality TV gold," another answered. As Scrappy paced the corridor, Mama D was on his heels, her face twisted with worry and fury. "Baby, you gotta be strong. Don't let them tear you down. They want to see you weak." Scrappy didn't respond, just shook his head and kept moving, desperate to get away from the cameras and the eyes that seemed to follow him everywhere. Meanwhile, Joc sat in a corner, head in his hands, his mind spinning. He knew the messages he sent were wrong, maybe not a full-blown betrayal, but enough to ruin trust forever. He whispered to himself, "Why'd I even go there? Why did I have to say all that?" He could hear the murmurs growing louder behind him. Castmates stared, some with pity, some with judgment, all with curiosity. The host and producers decided there was no way around it. They had to get everyone back on set and let the story play out. So, after a short break, the cast was called together again. Scrappy walked back to his chair, his jaw set, eyes fixed straight ahead, refusing to look at Bambi or Joc. Bambi looked smaller somehow, as if she'd shrunk from the weight of what she'd unleashed. Joc followed last, slow and heavy, every step screaming regret. The host started, his voice gentle but urgent. "We all saw what happened. Let's try to move forward. Bambi, do you have anything left to say?" Bambi took a shaky breath, her words spilling out. "I never wanted to hurt you, Scrappy. I didn't know how to handle it. Joc's messages made me uncomfortable, but I didn't want to start drama. I thought if I ignored it, it would stop." Scrappy interrupted, pain turning to anger. "But you let it happen. You let it keep going?" His voice broke, and fans watching at home could feel his heart break through the screen. Joc tried to explain himself, but the words caught in his throat. "I made a mistake, bro. I was out of line. I was feeling lonely, going through stuff, and I said things I shouldn't have. I swear nothing happened." Scrappy's eyes narrowed, his trust shattered. "Ah, and I was supposed to just believe that, after everything." Mama D jumped in, her protective instincts on full display. "Bambi, you had a chance to come to me. You could have told me. But you chose to embarrass my family on TV." Bambi's voice was barely a whisper. "I couldn't, Mama D. You never liked me. You would have blamed me no matter what." The audience felt every word. This was a family ripping at the seams, when no one willing to back down. As the cast watched the argument spiral, Erica finally spoke up. "Sometimes you just gotta be honest, even if it hurts. All this lying and sneaking around, it never ends well. I learned that the hard way." Her words stung, and for a second, everyone went silent. But before anyone could answer, the next twist landed. A producer leaned in to the host, whispering something urgent. The host, eyes wide, turned back to the group. there's someone backstage who wants to talk. She says she knows the real truth about all of this." Gasps rippled across the set, and fans at home started speculating wildly. Who could it be? A secret lover? An old friend? Someone with a score to settle? The door swung open, and in walked an unexpected guest, Anne, old friend of Bambi's from way back. Someone who knew both her and Joc long before the cameras were ever rolling. Her name was Destiny, and she walked straight into the chaos with a confidence that made everyone take notice. "I can't just stand by and watch this mess," Destiny said, her voice steady. "Y'all think you know what's happening, but you don't have the whole story. Bambi and Joc were friends way before any of this. If you're gonna point fingers, you need to know the facts." Scrappy, shocked, demanded, "What facts? Do you know that I don't?" Destiny turned to him, meeting his gaze. "All those messages. They started after Bambi and Scrappy had a big fight, one y'all never saw. Bambi was upset, felt alone, and Joc was just being a friend at first. But feelings got messy, lines got crossed. Bambi nodded silently, tears streaming down her face. "It's true. I was hurting. I didn't know who to trust. Joc was just there." The room exploded with reactions. Fans online were going wild. Some sided with Bambi. "She's only human. Everyone needs a friend." Others dragged her emotional cheating is still cheating. And a few blamed Scrappy. If he'd paid more attention, maybe she wouldn't have reached out. Destiny kept going, her voice fierce. "Don't get it twisted. Nobody's innocent here. Y'all got secrets, and y'all hurt each other. But don't act like this all just fell on Bambi and Joc. Scrappy, you've been running from your own problems for years." Scrappy glared at her. "This ain't about me. I never went behind nobody's back." But Destiny wasn't done. "Maybe not. But you pushed people away. We're so worried about what fans think, you forgot about your own home." The words hung in the air. The host tried to keep things on track, but the cast was caught in the storm. At that moment, a new bombshell dropped. One of the producers announced that social media was blowing up. Thousands of people were voting on a live poll. Who was really to blame? Bambi, Joc, or Scrappy? The results started showing on the screen behind them, changing by the second, adding even more fuel to the fire. Scrappy, watching the numbers climb against him, shook his head. "I can't believe this. Everybody's turning on me." Bambi whispered, "That's not what I wanted." But Scrappy cut her off, his voice tired, broken. "Well, it's what you got." The chaos was nowhere near over. Old wounds were exposed, new accusations were flying. And everyone on set and at home could tell that the night's wildest twist hadn't even happened yet. The room was electric. Every single cast member tense and unsure if they should comfort someone, lash out, or just keep their mouths shut and survive another viral episode. As the live poll raged behind them, the numbers shifting minute by minute, a weird silence settled over the set, a sense that something big was coming. Even bigger than all the drama that had just blown up. Scrappy was the first to break the tension. "So, what now?" he said quietly, his voice almost lost in the noise of the studio. "Am I supposed to just forget this ever happened?" He looked at Bambi, his eyes full of disappointment and a glimmer of hope, like he wanted anyone to make it right. Bambi, trembling, wiped her cheeks and whispered, "I don't know how to fix it. I don't know if we even can." Joc finally spoke up, the weight of guilt and regret in every word. "Look, Scrap, if you never want to talk to me again, I get it. I screwed up. But you gotta know, I didn't want to hurt you." It just spiraled. Mama D, who had been pacing and muttering prayers under her breath, rounded on Joc. "Boy, you brought shame into my house. Don't you ever think you can just say sorry and walk away?" Real men fix their mess. The words hit hard. And Joc could only nod, his own tears finally welling up. Meanwhile, Destiny, whose appearance had thrown gasoline on the fire, refused to back down. "Y'all are acting like you're the only ones hurting. she said, pointing to the cameras. You see these people? Your fans. They've been rooting for you, crying for you, fighting for you on Twitter all night. They feel this just as much as you do. The comments set off a new storm on social media. Fans began posting their own stories of heartbreak, betrayal, and forgiveness. The hashtag #ScrappyVSJOC trended worldwide, and clips from the show were already racking up millions of views. The host tried to move the conversation forward, but the cast was too raw, too exposed. Erica, who had mostly kept quiet, finally stood up. Maybe it's time we all stopped hiding behind secrets and just started telling the truth. Not for the cameras, not for the... In walks Spice, usually the peacemaker, but now looking visibly shaken. She turned to the group, her voice trembling. I wasn't going to say anything, but I can't hold it in. I saw Joc with another woman right after all this mess started. I tried to tell Bambi, but she wouldn't listen. Thought maybe it was nothing. But now she looked at Joc, eyes pleading. Tell the truth. Were you with someone else? Joc, caught off guard, hesitated. Look, things got wild. Okay? I was confused. I felt alone, but it wasn't serious. It didn't mean anything. The cast erupted. Bambi looked shattered. So I was just another option. A distraction. Her voice was raw, pain written all over her face. Scrappy shook his head, feeling the last threads of trust snapping. Man, I can't do this no more. I don't even know who my friends are. Every time I turn around, somebody got a new secret. Mama D hugged him tight, whispering, You're stronger than you think. Don't let them break you. But the audience wasn't done. The live poll flashed a new question. Should Scrappy and Bambi call it quits for good? Thousands voted in seconds, with the results split right down the middle. Some fans begged them to work it out. Others said enough was enough. Amid all this, Destiny, never one to keep quiet, spoke up again. This right here. This is what happens when y'all keep secrets. It's a lesson. Don't hide, don't run. Face the truth, no matter how ugly it is. The message landed, and for the first time all night, the cast fell silent, reflecting on how deep the damage ran. The host asked, So, what now? Is there any way forward? Bambi whispered, I don't know. I want to believe we can fix it, but I'm scared. Scrappy stared at the floor, torn between heartbreak and hope. Joc looked at the group, finally understanding the full weight of what he'd done. I'm sorry, can't take it back, but I can try to do better. The lights in the studio seemed softer now, as if the exhaustion of the night had finally settled over everyone present. But just as some were hoping for closure, a final shockwave threatened to rip the cast apart once more. The live poll was still going wild, fans flooding the chat with support, anger, and speculation, some demanding forgiveness, others calling for permanent breakups. And then, as if on cue, the host's earpiece crackled again. Breaking news. He announced to the room and the millions watching live. We've just received footage from earlier this week and off-camera conversation between Bambi and Erica that changes everything. Every head snapped up. Bambi's eyes widened in horror. No, please don't show that. But the producers were ruthless, hungry for ratings. And the screen behind the cast flickered to life. The video played. Bambi, her voice cracking, confessed to Erica, I didn't want to lose Scrappy, but I was scared. Sometimes I feel like he's not really there, like he's already left me in his heart. And with Joc, I was lonely. I never wanted it to get this far. I thought I could handle it, but now I'm drowning. The silence afterward was deafening. Scrappy looked crushed. So you thought about leaving? You thought I already gave up on you? His voice was almost a whisper. Bambi nodded, tears streaming. I didn't know what else to do. I felt like I was fighting alone. Mama D was the first to respond, her voice both harsh and soft. Baby, you ain't alone. Families go through storms. But you've got to stop hiding. Stop running from the truth. Even Joc, shattered by the fallout of his actions, spoke quietly. "I'm sorry for my part in all this. I never meant to come between you two." Fans online exploded, some offering empathy, others unleashing rage. Clips of the confession trended instantly, and think pieces about the toxic cycle of reality TV drama filled every corner of social media. The host tried to guide the cast toward some kind of resolution, but old wounds bled into new ones. Erica, her own eyes glistening, said, "Look, I've been there. When you love someone but you feel invisible, I know how easy it is to make mistakes, to do things you regret, just to feel seen again. But running doesn't fix anything. Talking does. Facing it together does." Scrappy, broken but determined, wiped his face and took a shaky breath. "I don't know how to trust again. But maybe if we start being real with each other, no more secrets, no more half-truths, maybe we can find our way back." Bambi reached for his hand, and the whole studio held its breath. "I want to try. I know I messed up, and I can't erase what I did, but I love you. You can give me another chance. I promise I'll fight for us." Mama D, always dramatic, threw her arms around both of them. "If you two can get through this, anybody can. Let the haters talk. Let the world watch. It's your life." As the cameras prepared to fade out, Joc turned to the couple, voice full of remorse. "I hope you two work it out. And I hope I learn from my own mistakes. I lost a friend tonight, and I don't want to lose myself too." The cast slowly gathered, some hugging, others just quietly holding hands or nodding at each other. Outside the studio, the world kept watching, analyzing every move, every tear, every word. The host looked into the camera, speaking directly to the viewers. "You've seen the pain, the drama, and the truth. Now it's up to you. Can Scrappy and Bambi rebuild? Will Joc ever be trusted again? Is forgiveness even possible after so much betrayal?" We want to hear from you. Like, comment, and subscribe if you think love can survive even the wildest reality TV storms. As the final credits rolled, fans everywhere argued, cried, and hoped. The cast stepped off the stage into a world forever changed by the secrets that came to light, wondering if next season would bring healing, or if the chaos would just start all over again after everything you've just witnessed. The heartbreak, the betrayals, the confessions, and those last raw moments. One thing is clear: nobody saw this coming. Lil Scrappy, Bambi, and young Joc have been through more in one night than most families face in a lifetime. Fans everywhere are left stunned, divided, and desperate to know what happens next. Will Scrappy and Bambi rebuild what's broken? Can trust ever return after secrets this deep? Will Joc ever redeem himself? Or is this the end of a legendary friendship? These questions are burning through social media, and everyone has an opinion. But now, it's your turn. What do you think? Should Scrappy forgive Bambi, or is it time to move on? Does Joc deserve a second chance, or should he finally face the consequences? Maybe you see yourself in their struggles. Maybe you've lived through your own heartbreaks, your own second chances, or even your own wild drama. So tell us, do you believe in forgiveness, or do some lines just never get uncrossed? Who do you blame for the chaos? And who are you rooting for to make a comeback? If your voice matters, drop your take in the comments right now. And if you're hooked on the drama, the tears, and the twists, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell so you never miss another episode. We break down the stories the headlines ignore, and we bring you closer to the stars than ever before. Share this video with your crew, tag your friends, and join the conversation, because reality TV isn't just on the screen. It's happening in real time with all of us. Thanks for watching, thanks for feeling, and thanks